Okay.
In what way are the lobbyist scandals and CoinGate scandals, both in Ohio, both separate and yet still interrelated, affecting voters and candidates for this November election, starting with Jennifer?
I think it goes back to the basic issue of trust in government. And for instance, the Secretary of State's office, before Ken Blackwell, people really didn't know what the Secretary of State did, who he was. There's only been a he up to this point. And it's sort of like the infrastructure and the underpinnings of government. And when those things start to go awry and things that you just really assumed were under control start to go wrong, people do lose trust in the process. So you have problems with the election in 2004. You have changes to the laws so that people are disenfranchised. You have, let me point out, the changes to the law where people are likely to be disenfranchised were based upon voter fraud, and the League of Women Voters has shown that from 2002 until the end of 2005, there are only 4 cases of voter fraud out of, at one point, what was 7.8 million registered voters. So again, it comes back to the issue of trust, and then the proof is in the pudding. Our state is in the worst shape it's been in many, many years. As I campaign around the state, I even have Republicans who say it's time to give the Democrats a try because we can't get much worse here in this state. And as I'm sure Greg could agree with me, as we travel around the state and we go to places like Shelby, Ohio, or on the east part of the state on the river, we see areas that 20 years ago were thriving areas and thriving communities, and jobs have been outsourced. And you know, our best resource in our state is our people. And we just need the kind of leadership that will motivate people to believe that, yes, we can work together, and who will implement good, accountable policies that foster the basic values of freedom, opportunity, and responsibility. And we can turn the state around much more quickly than we think. But I think people are very discouraged right now.
Great. I think this is a change election. We need different kinds of people in these statewide offices. I bring a different background to the table. I've run a business before. I know what it means to sign the front of a paycheck. I know when you run a small business, you're the last guy that gets paid. You pay your employees, you pay the government, you pay your suppliers, and if you do it efficiently, you get paid. The Secretary of State's office, half of it is the business services side of the operations of the Secretary of State's office. What does that mean? That's a platform where we can talk to the voters about how we need to cut red tape that business still faces in this state. There is no more important issue in the state of Ohio right now than jobs attraction and jobs retention. Our economy has changed in the last 10 years, and we need to elect officials who have, one, been on the front lines of running a business, that know how government can get in the way of business. And I'm going to make it more computer friendly too when I get there. We're going to be able to incorporate online, we're going to be able to form LLCs online, and I've got a record of using the internet as a friend to government to support businesses I've done in the clerk's office. So I'm going to talk about that a lot. It's important that we be nimble and the Secretary of State lead in this area in petitioning our legislature to make sure our business laws are competitive with our neighbors and the rest of the states around the country, because that's who we're competing with for new businesses.
I'll start with you, Greg, and then Jennifer. If you are elected, take the oath, what's the first thing you're going to do the first day you walk into the office?
I'm going to conduct an all-encompassing review of what goes on in the operations of the Secretary of State's office. I'm running for Secretary of State to be Secretary of State. I will sit down and evaluate organizationally how the operation is run now. And when I'm elected, I'm going to be elected to do things the way I see fit to do them. And on the election side, I see some significant priorities. Big picture, we need to deliver fair and secure elections to Ohioans in a bipartisan, fair way. I need to organize that around communicating better with our county boards of elections. That includes monitoring how they train poll workers and having open lines of communication with the Secretary of State's office. On the business services side of the office, it is a significant priority of mine. Now about 44% of UCC filings are available online. I want that to be 100%. So I'm going to review how we can do it better, how we can automate the office more, and how we can be more of an asset to business in the state of Ohio. I'm fortunate to have a record of having done that in Hamilton County, and I'm proud of the work I've done there. And I've done that we've been able to save taxpayers by looking at doing things differently. Too many people in government don't see any mandate for change when they get in large government offices. We have saved the taxpayers money in Hamilton County because when somebody in my office retires, I don't automatically fill that spot. We look to see whether that spot needs to be filled. It might seem simple, but when you run a large government office, which I have, much of it is setting priorities. We require our managers, I manage 320 people, and we enforce on our managers accountability that they come in under budget.
In the last minute, Jennifer, what would you do on the first day you walked into the office?
The first thing I would do would be to look at the staff who are there, look at what we're going to need to assemble the best team that we've ever had in the state of Ohio to assure Ohioans that we will administer elections that are free, fair, open, and honest. I also would make appointments to meet with every member of the legislature, whether they be Republican or Democrat, so that I could get to know them personally, they could get to know me, so that as they start to change the election laws, as they have so drastically in the last few years, they would feel that they could talk to me, and I would hope that they would listen to me on what's really best to assure open access to elections in the state of Ohio while protecting the integrity of the process.
And that is the last word. Thank you both very much for being with us today, Greg Hartman and Jennifer Bruner, candidates for Secretary of State of the State of Ohio.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.